Now we are going to learn about small intestine. So here we go. Small intestine is a thin and long tube. कितनी long होती है? About 10 feet. You can think of कि कितनी बड़ी होगी ये small intestine and तो फिर ये human body के अंदर कैसे आ जाती है? 10 feet is a big, right? It is very big or large we can say. तो ये कैसे कंप्लीट आ जाती है? बिकॉज इट इज कॉइल्ड. ये बहुत ज्यादा कॉइल्ड होती है. राइट एंड इट कवर्स द मैक्सिमम एरिया ऑफ abdominal cavity. It covers the maximum area of abdominal cavity. बहुत ज्यादा इसे फोल्ड किया होता है. देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ फोल्ड्स एंड रिजेस सो दैट ये जो है कम से कम एरिया ऑक्युपाई करे बट स्टिल इट ऑक्युपाइज द मैक्सिमम एरिया ऑफ abdominal cavity. एंड स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन की जो रिएक्शंस हैं विल बी लर्निंग वेरी सून, बट बिफोर दैट विल लर्न अबाउट लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन. तो लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में व्हाट वी हैव इज इट इज थिक एंड लॉन्ग ट्यूब. बट इसकी जो लेंथ है वो कितनी है? 5 feet. This is not the exact length of the small and large intestine. It is just the approximate, right? With approximation we can say it is just like this. So its function is to absorb water तो जो हम न्यूट्रिएंट्स गेन कर रहे हैं आफ्टर, जब ये क्या होता है कि स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में ऑल द डाइजेशन प्रोसेस इज ऑलमोस्ट डन. तो जो वेस्ट मटेरियल इज पास्ड इनटू नेक्स्ट पार्ट्स, तो स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन क्या करता है? ये ट्राई करता है कि अगर कोई भी मटेरियल, इफ एनी ऑफ द important material which can be used by our body, any of the nutrients, any of the minerals, if are present in that waste material, those are extracted by large intestine. Large intestine is responsible for absorption of material from that particular waste we can say. Okay, the main function is to absorb water. Next we are going to learn about rectum. Here we go. So rectum is a part from where waste products are passed into end of large intestine. Right, the waste produced are passed into the end of large intestine called the rectum. So the rectum we can say is at end of large intestine. It is responsible for elimination of waste material, in solid form, that we also call as stream. Okay, so and this is something that is related to excretory system, so we'll be learning about that in the excretory system only. And now we are going to learn about some of the important organs, we can say accessory organs, which are responsible for digestion. The first one is pancreas. Why pancreas? Because pancreas releases pancreatic juices. or we can say the digestive enzymes, which are responsible to complete the process of digestion. Okay, so it is a large gland which is present just behind the stomach and is responsible for releasing pancreatic juices. The second one is liver. तो जो liver है, it is something reddish brown accessory organ of the digestive system, which is located at the right of stomach. It produces bile juice, which is important for digestion. We'll be learning about the importance of these in the next very slides. Okay, so now we are going to learn about the actual process of digestion. Right, we are going to learn about the actual process of, till now we have learned about the digestive system and about the important glands, we can say pancreas and liver, and salivary gland is also present, that we have already learned when we were learning about mouth. The digestion in mouth. So now we have the very first process that take place is ingestion. It is ingestion. Ingestion में क्या होता है? The consuming of food, taking up of food is called as ingestion. Okay, इसमें जो food है is transported to food pipe. Food pipe में जो भी processes हो रहे हैं, that is included in ingestion. The second very process is mixing up of food and movement. Mixing and movement. ये mixing and movement किस में consider किया जाता है? जब हम esophagus में भी है, it is in the form of ball, right? तो food वहां पर mix होता है and the movement is downward. Downward movement जो होती है, that we are considering here. The third process is secretion. Secretion of HCl, small intestine में जो secretions हो रही हैं, या फिर जो large intestine में secretions हो रही हैं, that all are included in secretion process, that we have already learned, right? And the fourth one is digestion. So the process of digestion is converting the complex food particles into the simpler substances in the presence of enzymes and acid. जो हमने stomach में पढ़ा था ना कि जो हमारे एंजाइम्स है वो एक्ट करते हैं फूड के ऊपर एंड इट लीड्स टू द ब्रेक डाउन ऑफ फूड एंड सिंपल सब्सटेंसेस में कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं बाय द डाइजेस्टिव एंजाइम्स, सो दैट इज इंक्लूडेड इन डाइजेशन. देन इज अब्जॉर्प्शन. What we mean by absorption is जो small intestine की functioning है, most of the nutrients and minerals are absorbed in the small intestine. That is included in the process of absorption. After absorption, we have excretion that we'll be learning basically in the excretory system. Right? तो अगर हम flow chart की form में करें, first of all we have ingestion, then mixing and movement, then we have secretion, then is digestion of food, then is absorption of minerals, and then excretion. Okay, so next there are some of the disorders which are related to digestive system, like diarrhea, right? Vomiting, constipation and indigestion. So इनके बारे में ज़्यादा आपको नहीं आएगा. You just need to remember that there are some disorders, or we can say diseases. Okay, so these includes, first of all, vomiting. Then we have here is diarrhea. The very next is constipation. Then we have indigestion. Okay, so my dear student, this was all about the digestive system. In today's lecture, we had covered the digestive system. What we have learned is, first of all, we had learned about the importance of life processes. हमें ये life processes क्यों important होते हैं? Next, we have learned about the nutrition, which is of two types: autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic में हमने पढ़ा कि जो green plants होते हैं that utilize carbon dioxide and water and leads to the formation of carbohydrates in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. And that is the end product, that carbohydrates are stored in the form of starch and then are utilized by the plants, right? उसके बाद में हमने पढ़ा हेट्रोट्रॉफिक न्यूट्रिशन के बारे में, जिसमें हमने अब तक ह्यूमन बींग्स का कंसीडर किया है, दैट हाउ ह्यूमन digestive system is working, the various parts of human digestive system, the glands and the working, right? We have here we have learned the fluids, how the digestive system works, and then we have learned about the disorders. Now I have said that we'll be learning about the case of amoeba in later, so now we are going to learn about the case of amoeba, digestion in amoeba. Amoeba is a special case, as you all must have seen the diagram, right? How amoeba looks like. So in that case, it is as it is somehow like this, right? And yeah. तो अमीबा के क्या होता है कि सपोज अगर यहाँ पर कोई फूड पार्टिकल दिखा तो ये क्या करेगा, इट विल वर्क लाइक दिस. तो क्या होगा कि इसका जो फिंगर लाइक प्रोजेक्शंस बनने स्टार्ट हो जाएंगे, जिससे कि हमारे पास इट इज वेट, it is somehow like this, or amoeba के तो कितने सारे finger projections are there, so these will start to consume food. ये food अंदर आना start हो जाएगी, इसकी movement अंदर की हो जाएगी, and once there will be a time when it will be like this, and then what will happen is the full food will come inside it. So this is a food particle, not the liquids. So this is only what is related to amoeba. Amoeba का जो case है, this is not going to be much important, as in heterotrophic we are only considering humans digestive system. Okay, but still I have just discussed the case of amoeba. In case it is asked in exam, you can draw this diagram and explain the whole process, right? So my dear student, this was all about the digestive system, or we can say all about the process of nutrition. We have learned about the very first life process, that is nutrition. And the second process we are going to learn about the respiratory system, about respiration. Right, so in respiration what happened is, respiration is something related to, as I have already mentioned, that respiratory system or respiration is something related to inhale and exhale of oxygen and carbon dioxide respectively, right? It is something related to breathing, the process of breathing. Not only animals or human beings breathe, the plants also have this process, right? As we have learned in digestive system, in the process of nutrition, that plants use carbon dioxide, right? They use carbon dioxide, and from where it is obtained? It is obtained by the process of respiration in plants. Plants as well as animals use this, have this system, respiratory system. Somehow different plants में कुछ different रहता है ये system, animals में different होता है. So this in the case we will be learning about plants as well as animals. right? Now we are starting in case of plants. सबसे पहले हम plants के साथ में start करेंगे. So what we have here is, सबसे पहले ये एक बहुत important diagram है. फ्लो चार्ट की फॉर्म में आपकी एनसीईआरटी बुक में भी दिया होगा that glucose is broken down into the simpler substances by the three processes, right? At different condition, यहाँ पर जो conditions हैं that are going to be different. Like first one is absence of oxygen. यहाँ पर oxygen की total absence हो. This is absence of oxygen. The second one is जहाँ पर oxygen present तो है but it is in less quantity. That is lack of oxygen. And very third is presence of oxygen, जिसमें oxygen present भी है and is in sufficient amount. So here we have is here one more thing is pyruvate plus energy. Okay, then it is converted down and it takes place in the presence in cytoplasm. The very first we get is ethanol. Now what we are getting here is, in first case, it is ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. But here ethanol, what is ethanol? Ethanol, as we have already learned in our chapter 4, you remember, it is 2 carbon molecule. Right, let me write it on the above surface so that we can also write the second one. So it is 2 carbon surface, 2 carbon molecule, right? If we talk of this in case of second, it reduces lactic acid plus energy. And lactic acid, you need to remember, is 3 carbon molecule. And in the case of presence of oxygen, it leads to the formation of carbon dioxide and water plus energy. Okay, so it is in case of plants and it is very important flow chart, I can say. And sometimes this flow chart is asked in 3 marks. If you will check the examination paper of 2018 and 19, this particular flow chart was asked in 3 marks. So this is very important. It is directly a 3 marks question, or we can say 3 marks of flow chart. Okay, so next we are going to learn how this particular reaction is taking place. Step by step we are going to learn about this. So in all the cases, the very first step is breakdown of glucose. Glucose जो है, this is a 6 carbon compound into a 3 carbon compound. यहाँ पर हम ब्रैकेट में नहीं लिखेंगे, we'll write it in simpler form. Into a 3 carbon compound called as pyruvate. तो अगर हम इसके एग्जाम्पल रिएक्शन लिखे सबसे पहले, तो it is glucose is converted into pyruvate. Where glucose is a 6 carbon molecule or compound, and pyruvate is 3 carbon molecule, or we can say compound, okay, in the cytoplasm. Okay, so next is और ये जो प्रोसेस है इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है? It's here I've just drawn it. So okay, so what is its importance? It takes place in yeast during fermentation. Okay, so next to हम वही flow chart draw करेंगे and we'll learn it one by one in the form of. So this is pyruvate and यहाँ पर energy release होती है. Then it is converted. There are 3 steps. So we'll be learning about all these 3 steps in detail. Okay. So first one is absence of oxygen. सबसे पहले पढ़ेंगे कि absence of oxygen में क्या होता है. Like this pyruvate is converted into ethanol plus carbon dioxide and energy. Please remember that this process is taking place in the absence of oxygen. And if it is taking place in the absence of oxygen, it must be called as anaerobic respiration. Right? We'll be learning about anaerobic and aerobic respiration in detail in the next next few slides. Okay. और अगर हम करें in the presence of oxygen, तो presence of oxygen में it takes place in the mitochondria. Right? It leads to the formation of carbon dioxide and water plus energy. It is called as aerobic respiration. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration can be asked in the form of a difference between, write the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. There you need to mention that it takes place in the absence of oxygen and in the presence of oxygen respectively. Then you can also mention the reaction, you can mention the products formed, you can presence where it takes place. Right? और जो हमने lack of oxygen का पढ़ा था, that is going to be same, lack of oxygen. It leads to the formation of lactic acid, which is 3 carbon molecule, and energy. Okay. और ये जो lactic acid produce हो रहा है ना, it also अगर ये suddenly produce हो, like sudden produce of lactic acid in our body causes cramps. So this was all about this was all about the respiration in plants जो हमने अभी तक पढ़ा. हमने ग्लूकोज respiration में मेन क्या है, अगर हम देखें in case of this plants, तो ग्लूकोज की फॉर्मेशन होती है, हमने पढ़ा डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम में. एंड दैट ग्लूकोज जो हमारे पास, ग्लूकोज इज अ सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस, राइट. और जो एनर्जी है, जो भी कंपाउंड्स आर फॉर्म्ड, that needs to be broken down into simpler substances and then transported to the all parts of plant, right? Now we are going to learn about respiration in humans. ये हमने अब पढ़ा जो, this was on respiration in plants. And now we are going to learn it is not only related to plants, it is also related to animals, because हमने cells के बारे में पढ़ा. Right? We have learned about how respiration is taking place in at very micro level, right, in the cells. So agar hum now we are going to learn about the terrestrial animals, or we can say the human beings. हम अभी रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम के बारे में पढ़ेंगे सबसे पहले तो. So in respiratory system we have, so before starting the study of respiratory system, let's have a look at the diagram so that we can understand the whole process in easy way, right? Okay, so let's have a look at the respiratory system, the diagram of respiratory system. So it starts with the nasal passages, then which is led by mouth cavity, or what we also call as buccal cavity. Then we have pharynx. Pharynx is basically here, you can see, is just a doorway, we can say, which prevents the entry of food into the respiratory system. Then we have here is larynx, which is important part here. Then we have is trachea. Rings of cartilage are there. These are the part that we call as rings of cartilage. We have lungs, very important part. Here it is written as lung because they are talking about. But if we are drawing the diagram something like this, because two lungs are there, so we write here lungs. Then we have ribs to protect the lungs from any injury. We have diaphragm, and then alveolar sac is there, bronchioles are there, bronchi is there. It is also called as bronchi and bronchi. So two pronunciations are there. You can follow up anyone, but I'll suggest you to follow up bronchi. Right. So this is about the digestive system. You can see here. This is the basic. Sorry, it is respiratory system. So this is about respiratory. We are having different parts, and here it is nasal passage. We also consider it as nose, right?